The obituary is almost written, and Anheuser Busch's once cherished brand, Bud Light, has lost its crown for a third consecutive month, but we don't have the complete picture yet. All we have is through the end of July 29th, and guess what, guys? Surprise! Down another 26%. It looks like 25 to 30% of the audience isn't coming back. Audience, consumers, whatever the hell you want to call it. Okay, the only time that people equate enthusiasm with Bud Light together is enthusiastically laughing at how big of a failure they become. So Bud Light sinks another 26% amid Dylan Mulvaney fiasco. And I've asked this question and posited this thought a multitude of times throughout the previous few months. Is it really even about Dylan Mulvaney anymore? Okay, for as much as, it makes great thumbnail fodder, this entire situation, fiasco, scenario, whatever the hell you want to call it, is really so much bigger than Dylan Mulvaney. I would put it at the feet of Anheuser Busch's current executive hierarchy in the way that they have fumbled the bag multiple times over and pissed everybody off in the wake of it, but to each their own, right? And it's like the way that some people will regard this scenario, this situation, as simply being, it's just a conservative boycott. Well, how do you explain 26% of beer drinkers and all of those gay bars that are just taking taps out of their establishments? Okay, Lindsey Graham can only drink at so many watering holes. Bud Light sales continue to tank in the wake of Dylan Mulvaney fiasco, while the tarnished brand's rivals keep swiping away market share. That's a strange way to phrase that, but whatever. According to the latest data, Anheuser-Busch's brand sales plunged by 25.9% during the week ending July 29th. They're close. We just need a couple of extra days. That one extra weekend isn't going to make a goddamn difference, okay? They've lost for a third straight month, okay? Let's just already call it. Let's fit the banners, get all the gold and blue party favors, okay? Modelo, 3 straight months in a row, okay? Can we just go ahead and call them number one? No, not yet. All right. Extending the downward spiral since Bud Light's ill-fated tie-up with trans influencer on April 1st. Yes, the world's longest-running April Fool's joke is, in fact, Dylan Mulvaney, surprise, still got a dick. According to the data from Nielsen IQ and Bump Williams Consulting, the same people who have been reporting the failures month after month, week after week in this case. Bud Light has been dethroned as the nation stopped selling beer in the past 3 months after Mulvaney's shutout led to a nationwide boycott. Modelo Especial is expected to vault to number 1 spot for the entire year by the end of this month, by the end of August. But it was eventually going to happen, guys. I don't know why you're so upset about this. Dave Williams told the Post, reiterating an earlier prediction by his company. Bud Light controls 8.4% of the market share compared to Modelo's 8.2%. And 26% down. Meanwhile, you've got Modelo on like a dozen percentage points upward. Yeah, interesting. Constellation's own brand, which posted a 14.8, so even they're doing better. They continue to go up. Bud Light, well, you already know. Sales increased last week by 14.8%. Isn't the only beneficiary of Bud Light's demise. Just goes to show you how much of a lead Bud Light had in this situation. In the overall beer market, they were top dog by a large margin. Rival Coors Light, 20.7%, Miller Lite, 19.25%, and Yuengling, 22.5%, enjoyed double-digit spikes, yet 20 percentage point, except for Miller Lite, lagging behind a little bit. Maybe some people realize that, if they actually put out that ad that they were intending to in February, this would be the Miller Lite fiasco, not the Bud Light situation. The most recent data shows, yes, you're more likely to see those delivery trucks rolling through your neighborhood as opposed to the Bud Light ones are rolling, or depending on if they're imbibing in some of their products, crashing into light standards. Anheuser Busch reported that revenue had taken a nearly $400 million hit domestically. Well, if we're going to be more specific about it, $395 million. But what's a few million between friends, right? Began its latest quarterly earnings release last week. The situation hasn't gotten any worse, nor has it gotten better. Well, that's one way to put it. And that's just from an outside consultancy firm, right? Dave Williams, running his Bump Williams consultancy firm. He's got a way to look at this objectively. But what about somebody who has a little more skin in the game, okay? Something, or rather a statement from somebody whose name is inexorably tied with this destroyed brand. What about one of the descendants of the original owners of the Anheuser Busch brand? One of the Bushes themselves. So Anheuser Busch heir claims ancestors would have rolled over in their graves over the Dylan Mulvaney situation. Never meant to be on a beer can. Yeah, exactly. It's almost like, and we touched on this very briefly, God, this was a few weeks ago, where they had an entire expose on the Busch family and how they started the brewery, really in touch with the Missouri lifestyle, helped prop up St. Louis, and then the moment that they sold out to InBev, well, St. Louis isn't one of the most violent places in the United States. That didn't happen overnight. So yeah, you outsource Americana, and that's the repercussions that you're faced with. Heir to the Anheuser Busch company said his ancestors would have rolled in their graves if they knew the beer company gave a case of brew to a transgender influencer. Yo, man, like, I don't drink beer at all. I just laugh at this situation because they just continue to fuck themselves over time and time again. But this right here, it's kind of making me partial to the family. Not what the company has become, not what InBev is doing with it, which, again, something else that has been echoed throughout this entire tragedy. The people that used to work for Anheuser Busch when it wasn't owned by the multinational conglomerate, was like, no, things were great. We could actually, market the brand, market the beer in a way that was resonated with our target audience, instead of trying to appeal to everybody. And then you just end up with these situations where you have too many cooks in the kitchen, too many chefs in the stew, all those goofy ass sayings. Billy Bush, not that one, said during an interview with TMZ that the ad campaign with Dylan Mulvaney would have been an outrage to Adolphus Busch, who died in 1913. Well, to be fair, did he even know Adolphus? Probably not, unless he's a time traveler. And plus, the idea of a trans influencer is like, okay, those are two words I have no fucking idea what you're talking about. Get that witchcraft out of here. I think my family, my ancestors, would have rolled over in their graves, Bush told TMZ's Harvey Levin. They believed that transgender, gays, and that sort of thing was a very personal issue. Fucking based. They loved this country because it was a free country. People are allowed to do what they want, and never meant to be on a beer can, and never meant to be pushed in people's faces. Yeah, that used to be a fairly acceptable way of comporting yourself. But now, if you don't celebrate it, if you don't scream gay pride from the rooftops, those activists, well, if they could waddle their fat ass upstairs to get to those rooftops, would have you thrown off of them. While at the same time, they try to reconcile how Muslims were mistreated in the aftermath of 9/11, not realizing that those were the ones that would end up taking a tumble. But anyways, Bush was commenting on the PR fiasco that followed the Mulvaney stunt, which supposedly cost the company $400 million in revenue. Initially, the company sent a case of Bud Light to the TikTok influencer that had a face plastered on the cans. Well, it was apparently one can, but we don't need to get all the facts correct. This is a TMZ interview, after all. Cans were meant to be an innocent marketing gimmick for Gen Z, but many beer drinkers lost their buzz pretty quickly. No, it didn't work for anybody. It was immediately lampooned. And in the aftermath of that, that's when the boycotts started. When Anheuser Busch didn't go, okay, listen, we kind of pissed off our consumers. Listen, we were trying something new. It ultimately didn't work. Our bad. Back to business as usual. They just went, you're just stupid, bro. What? You don't want other people to be drinking beer? Wait, where are you guys going? No, you got to come back. No, we can't afford. No, fine. We actually didn't want you to begin with, and you're stupid and misinformed. It's like, why is nobody coming back? And we run new ad campaign. We hired NFL stars, right? You drunks, you like football, right? And it's coming back, right? Where's everybody gone? Everybody, oh well. No, I think people who drink beer, I think they're your common folk. I think they're blue-collar workers who go and works hard every single day, Bush said. And this guy's not in charge of the company anymore. That's a shame, because he actually knows who drinks the beer. Jesus. The last thing they want pushed down their throat, pause, or to be drinking is a beer can that has a kind of message on it. I don't think that's what they're looking for. Exactly. They want their beer to be truly American, truly patriotic, as it always has been. Truly America's beer, which Bud Light was and probably isn't any longer. Oh man, that kind of, like, this is the first time that I've actually felt bad for anybody. Like, Dylan Mulvaney's a fucking grifter, and everybody can see it if you just do a cursory amount of research. But this guy right here is like, my family did all of this good work, and now you guys are just besmirching the name and killing off the brand that we spent the better part of 100 years working on. But no, We made it America's beer. Okay, we forged all those partnerships that make it inexorable with the NFL and with MLB, and it's just as American as apple pie. But no, now you just sold out, and now a Mexican beer is #1 in America. How analogous to the modern day plight of Americans. Great, fantastic. It's almost sad. It's almost sad. The cans featuring Mulvaney's face are a one-off gift to Mulvaney, and they were not for sale in stores. Is that supposed to make it better? Like, is it supposed to be a cope for anybody? You're like, who cares? Levin pressed the beer scion whether the backlash against Bud Light was rooted in prejudice. Oh my fucking, of course he would ask that question. Because he works for TMZ, no other reason. Absolutely it's prejudice, Levin said. Look, I remember... Oh, he fucking brings it up. Jesus. I remember telling my dad stories about there were bars in L.A. that used to have signs that read, "No dogs, no Jews." Interesting. Because I seem to recall, and you can do a very, very easy Google search on these things, there used to be signs there as well, and I don't hear anybody else screaming about this, but the signs about, refusing service used to be no blacks, and then underneath of that, there was also no Irish as well, and as somebody who is a quarter Irish, don't need to go ahead and make it all personal and shit, but of course he would. So there's a history of prejudice in the country. Well, you're also talking to somebody, okay, the founder of this company was Adolphus Busch, for Christ's sakes. Okay, where the fuck do you think that his heritage come from, if you want to play the victim card one more time? People get over certain things. It happened to the Jews. Of course, it always happens to the Jews. Why is this the second video where I got to talk about this shit? Because they never stop complaining. It's happened to black people. Oh, see? Now he's doing the Donald Sterling shit. Jesus. It's happening to gay people. It's happening to transgender people. So to me, it's absolutely prejudice. See? They just lump them all up together. Your struggle is my struggle, friend, right? Yes, exactly. Second quarter report from... So that wasn't actually from Billy Bush. That was from, well, of course, you can tell where the kvetching was coming from. A second quarter report of Anheuser Busch revealed the brewing company's revenue in the United States dipped by 10%, which lost $400 million, $395, $396, I forget specifically, but almost good enough. And its sales in the United States retailers declined by 14% compared to the previous year. Bush was promoting his new book, Family Reigns, The Extraordinary Rise and Epic Fall of an American Dynasty. Yeah, and again, it kind of sucks because it sounds like he's so passionate about the brand that his ancestors created and then his grandparents and his parents fostered. And now he's just on the outside looking in going, this is my legacy, huh? Well, that kind of sucks. All you have is a tranny standing up to piss on the ashes and a Jew making it all about him. Terrible, terrible situation we find ourselves in. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.